Fancy jumping? Accident.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Switching to intro in 5, 4.
Hello and welcome to Sheer Fucking Hubris, our weekly Trek podcast made by three of us buddies,
Oh,
mostly done
dear
in
God.
jest. Strange New Worlds, Star Trek Picard.
Oh, my nostalgia dick is hard. What the fuck? Are we singing?
How peculiar, my ears are ringing. I'm
Sweet
Joe
mother of God.
Bob,
I'm Mr. Willie.
and Warden's probably giggling.
We're the host of Sheer Fucking Hubris.
Let's see what Glenn has wrote us.
Let's put a bomb in Quonos.
Sheer hubris, fucking hubris, sheer hubris.
A newborn king, Mbenga sings, I must discuss these stupid things.
We'll break it down and break it off and earn our Red Angel wings. Frontier Day didn't go as planned.
So is Ash a Klingon or human? Our poor crew seems double-dicked.
And Rafi's still a piece of shit.
We tell jokes, do impressions.
I'm eating a kelpie on this session. And it's better than the Coke in Orion Town. But why are we singing?
Is Ash human or Klingon?
Fucking hubris.
If you're pissed, give my shiny metal ass a kiss.
Sheer hubris.
Fucking hubris.
Sheer fucking hubris.
Okay, then.
Hey, win
Wow.
at home. Win in the subspace fold, Warden.
I mean, out of tune and everything. It was great.
Fuck you. First thing you say is a critique.
That's right. Everybody's a critic, Warden.
You big gay bastard.
I am not a bastard. My parents were married.
Hello, and you'll always be a bastard to me.
That's right.
We are indeed sheer fucking hubris. I am Joe Bob, joined as always by Mr. Willie
Hello.
and Sourpuss. Also known as Biblio Warden.
Yeah, I'm really sour. Yeah.
How are you gentlemen doing?
I'm excellent.
I'm
Good.
doing lovely.
Good.
I should say I'm excellent as for a guy who's coming off of 6 straight days working.
Let's not let real world problems intrude
right.
upon this. This is a safe space.
Do you think the crew of the Titan has a day off, Warden?
I mean, I imagine under normal circumstances, they get one, yeah.
Look, Sydney, what's her face, worked for like 37 straight hours. A double shift.
You
This
gotta
is the first
imagine.
episode.
You gotta imagine the people, like the crew of the Titan, when they see Riker and Picard, they're just like, "Oh fuck me." Those are the people that should have been dicks about it. They're like, "We are gonna work our ass off, and most of us are probably gonna die." Oh.
Because catastrophe follows them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Shaw said it.
As Shaw said,
pointed it out.
rest in peace. They got a
Poignantly.
real chicken and egg thing going.
That's right. Oh boy.
Well, we watched Star Trek episodes this week. This week we are almost finished with season 2 of Strange New Worlds and season 3 of Star Trek Picard. This was the episode Vox.
The
I
penis
believe.
ultimate.
The Penis Ultimate episodes, Vox and Subspace Rhapsody. Oh boy.
What a week. It's a shame that we only had a short week. We didn't get to simmer on these longer. I am really, excited for the Picard recap because once again, I can only remember the last 48 seconds of the episode. But by God, those 48 seconds, I'll say, were amazing. But as for the other 52 minutes and 12 seconds, that will be discussed.
Oh boy. I feel like the recap is almost unnecessary because we predicted everything. I so did not want it I knew it was coming and I so did not want it to be. I was trying to
I was holding
will
out hope.
something
I was holding out
other
hope.
than the goddamn Borg.
Well, the the part about this that gets me though is first off, I should probably just go ahead and say that I'm along for the ride with Picard season 3, and I'm just sitting back and enjoying it. But I'm trying not to pull at the thread of this tapestry very much because none of this made any sense. This whole plot or this whole ploy, none of this made any sense at
Willie,
all.
you said it last week when you're like, I bet they are going to techno babble the shit out of it, and it's going to be tenuous at best.
Oh boy.
And
And one of you this week said it. Oh, Willie said it. In our chat, basically made the point that that Starfleet security shit the bed in a truly epic way. I mean,
Yeah.
this is just. I mean, that's ultimately for me the thing that you really, really have to suspend disbelief on because I can't imagine any
They were asleep in
semi-professional,
the
let alone
proverbial
professional.
rocking chair
Yes.
during most of this. When the timeline doesn't even make sense. Like, do we need to remember that they only stole this shit like 48 hours ago?
Oh, but they've been putting this place in place for years. I mean,
God. But what they didn't have the Starfleet left right ABBA code until 48 hours ago. So we have to assume that everybody has beamed. Snotty beamed me twice last night. It was amazing.
well, no. Why didn't anybody ever tell me my ass was so big? No, we don't know when they infiltrated Starfleet, Star Trek. We don't know when the morons infiltrated Star Trek, but it's around the time they launched Star Trek Discovery.
Well, but they didn't get the Konami code though until they went to Daystrom Station, and they had to extract that from Picard's brain hole, which in my mind definitely happened with the little
Melon
bowel like
dollars.
brain melon ballers. That's
Oh, that's
definitely how they
right.
got it.
Oh yeah, no, that's right.
So they had to get that, disseminate it to all the sleeper cells, get them to put it into the transporter banks, and then have everyone under the age of 25 beam at some point, which pretty much should have precluded everyone on the Titan.
No, but it's not. They didn't put it into each individual transporter. It's in the architecture of the software. So that means that
it's like
we'll say,
fundamental. Yeah.
we'll say they pushed a software update. They really made it seem like it came out of the box with this in it. And so I guess every ship replaced its transporter in the last week.
Mm-hmm.
Not even a week. Haven't
I'm
they been
saying
saying it's like 3 days to Frontier Day?
it's like 3 days. Yeah, it was. That's what I'm saying. It hasn't been long. Now they may have busted into Daystrom Station a few days earlier, but
Oh yeah,
or a couple weeks earlier,
10 days.
because
10
it
days
didn't tip
top.
them off until the
Well,
portal gun.
the
Right.
changelings came from Daystrom. I mean, that's where they were being tested, studied on, and the whole shebang.
Yeah, but that was a
And
long
there's
time ago because
Right,
they
they
had
went
to
back
get
to
out and
Daystrom
go hook up with the Borg.
because they're like, "What did they steal?" Jean-Luc Picard. Jean-Luc Picard. But why are the changelings and the Borg working together? Why, if the Borg has a fully functional Borg cube, are they just waiting off somewhere? Like that was very un-Borg like.
It was like a Borg fucking city. It wasn't just a
Yeah,
cube. It was.
this it's those nebula, man. Nebula's all even the Borg can't navigate around them.
Well, that was Jupiter, but
But that was Jupiter.
that was
I didn't get
Jupiter.
that. Oh, I didn't catch on to that. Um, probably because I
No,
was just drifting
it
in and out of
wasn't.
consciousness.
Was it?
It
I,
really was.
I didn't catch that,
is
but
that
I'll
said
take
in the
Ward's word
episode?
for
Because
it.
I thought when he locked in the
Uh-huh.
coordinates, I thought it was out in the middle of nowhere.
Activate, send signal, causes, Geordi, Shaw wonders.
But nevertheless, how did this Joe Bob take?
All right,
How did this
so
episode start? I guess let's keep going here.
well, it starts with Troy mind melding with Jack, right?
Mhm.
Hmm.
And she's like, "It's okay, whatever behind it, it's not bad, you know. Tell me about these vines."
I'm not gonna run down the hallway and
He's
dream
like,
that you're.
"Oh, you know." It's like the vines remind me of connection. It's like I love how trees are really just one collective, all one hive mind. And Troy's like, a little bit disconcerting, but you know,
Go on.
let's
And how
open
does
the
that
door,
make you feel?
Jack. Abused, manipulated, betrayed. And how does that make you
And how does that make you feel?
abused, manipulated, betrayed? Anyway, Deanna's like, look, there'll
Where
be
did that
no
come off
judge.
of? I can't think of that.
It was a Bud Light commercial, I think.
Oh, jeez.
It was a commercial. I don't remember what it was selling, but anyway, Deanna's like, "Look, Jack, just let me open the door for you. I'm a counselor, no judgment, whatever's in your mind. I've seen worse." So she opens the door and she's like, "Oh my
Oh,
God, you
sweet
fucked up!" And
Jesus!
she
Yeah.
bolts.
This is why a Betazoid shouldn't be a counselor. It's the exact reason why a Betazoid should be a counselor.
Oh. So Picard, she finds Picard, and he's finally climbing down off of his cross. He's like, "I didn't give him Ironic syndrome." She's like, "You gave him Borg syndrome." He's like, "God damn it!" He gets back up on his cross.
This is
Uh,
all my fault.
I feel like Picard said that a lot this season.
Mhm.
And they're like, "Well, we want to go help our son." And Beverly's like, "Well, you know, I hate to be the stickler here, but there are
But
rules."
we're gonna have to throw him in an internment camp.
And
We got a Jap running around on board.
somebody speaks up and says, "Hey, you know, he has shown us on multiple occasions now he can control other people's bodies." Beverly's like, "Nah, it'll be fine." Oh,
Send the two
Picard.
dinguses with phaser rifles down to stand guard.
So Picard goes to talk to him, and the most predictable thing ever happens. Jack, when he realizes he's under house arrest, is like, I'll just do my Borg King thing, Dad. Thanks for the bodyguards, fucker." And he flips him the bird and walks off because he's like, "I'm gonna go take down this Borg Queen
Borg
bitch."
Queen.
And everybody's like, you know, if we'd have just waited 6 more hours, Frontier Day would have been over, and they wouldn't be able to do anything with Jackie Boy. Oops.
Whoa.
Wow, wow. So Jack flies into the middle of the nebula, red nebula, and
What Warden is calling Jupiter.
Warden fucking he said that she was going to open the door and there'd be a Borg cube hovering there in a red mist. And it was like he read the goddamn script. And so Jack heads to the middle of nowhere because,
It's where he's called to.
yeah, right. He doesn't know, but he closes his eyes and lets the Force guide him. It's like, talk to me, Goose.
Talk to me, Goose.
And so he puts in the warp coordinates and he warps somewhere and he's like, where are you, Borg? And then transwarp conduit opens up and uh-oh.
Yeah.
There's the Borg. So then we start with the fucking techno babble and Geordi's like, well, we know that all Borg undergo assimilation with nanite and mechanical components. What we didn't know is that they had a far more devious organic components. What? We couldn't detect
You're right.
it back then.
You're right, Jordy. We did not know that because it didn't exist before this episode.
He's like, and the way that mechanical apparatus work is if a receiver has sex with a doctor, their offspring is a transmitter.
Oh my God, this is the whole keymaster and gatekeeper thing. Didn't we do this bit earlier? About
We've
the
done it
keymaster?
before, yeah.
I think we did it this time. We were talking about Picard and Beverly being the keymaster, the gatekeeper.
I don't understand. I guess they planted this in Picard knowing that his receiver seed would create a transmitter before the receiver or the organic receiver in his head killed him because it was ultimately fatal. The Borg were playing the long con on this one. You got to hand it to them.
Yeah, they were.
I guess they knew the changelings would. How would
Especially since the Borg selective service system ends at 25. So, I mean, I didn't. It's just
yeah. So yeah, we're
so
getting there.
basically, if you're a salty old asshole, you're good.
Yep.
Thanks a lot, boomers.
This is the fuck the fuck the Gen Z. Everybody under 25 is just gonna be assimilated as a mindless drone, and you're gonna fuck it all up, and us boomers are gonna have to bail your asses out. So anyway, the Borg's plan was to infect Picard so that 35 years later his son would become a transmitter that would be heard by everybody in Starfleet under 25 because they knew that Starfleet was going to go to war with the Dominion, experiment on changelings to the point that they could pass as humans. The changelings were going to take it upon themselves to seek out the Borg, find out about this transmitter, steal Picard's conveniently dead and stored away body, integrate that into the transporter software architecture of every ship in the fleet, that Starfleet would work towards a very Borgian model of networking everything.
Transport enough of the youngsters around.
I don't know that they were making
code.
I don't know that they were actually suggesting that many coincidences.
Well, they had to be.
Okay.
Look,
I don't know that most of that was the plan. It was a thing that happened.
Okay, look, cue me doing the Dr. Evil quote. I just won't do it again because I've done it so many times this season so far. I mean, like you gotta figure the Borg Queen is like sitting over there, like fuck me, it actually worked because I mean, the chances of this happening were staggeringly small. Like that, all these pieces were gonna fall into place, just perfectly. But I guess they had plot armor.
So how did the changelings know that Jack would become a transmitter as the son of a receiver?
I don't know that they did.
There was a deleted scene where Vatic was doing a Punnett square.
How did the Did the Borg know it was going to happen?
I think they just figured out that it had happened and are like,
I'm just trying to
this
figure out
might
how
be
the fuck
useful.
this happened. So the changelings, the changelings escape and decide, hey, even though nobody knows where the Borg is, we're going to go find them. And the Borg said to the changelings who showed up on their door, hey, you remember Jean-Luc Picard? When he dies, we need you to get his body, look at his brain, and put
Well,
all that.
okay.
Extract this code.
How did
Go
they
and
know
make
he
it
had a kid?
Starfleet protocol that this is an acceptable sub DNA structure. Put it into the software for the transporter system so that when we boil the people down into energy and then we reconstitute them, it puts this in their brain hole. And then just lay in wait and it'll all work out.
So I got a question. If the Borg could put that stuff in Picard when they assimilated him, why couldn't they just give the changelings that information to put into the transporters? Why did they even need to take Picard's brain out?
I don't think they actually specifically put that in there. I think it was implied that it's a consequence of his assimilation. It's something that they didn't even expect, and
Oh,
they
it
just
was an accident.
yeah.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
how?
I see.
Okay, well,
I
if
think.
it's an
Oh, so what Warden's saying is
accident,
the Borg already knew about that code. It was just happenstance that they discovered it in Picard's brain hole. And
well,
I would concede that point to Warden had they not had to go steal Jean-Luc Picard to get it.
I thought Warden was saying the Borg didn't even know that code was there in Picard's brain.
Well, certainly not initially, but I got the impression that they just somehow figured it out over at some point. At some point,
They're just sitting in their nebula thinking, I wonder what old Jean-Luc Picard's brain is doing now. I wonder what his sperm passed on. Like, it,
I don't
They
know
probably they
because
probably
they
went they probably went and scraped some off of the floor
because
of a hotel room in Rigel 7 and then analyzed it.
the timeline between end of Nemesis, which I haven't even seen, and the start of Picard doesn't even
Which I wish I
exist.
hadn't seen.
There is no timeline. We don't know what happened. We don't know what the connective tissue is, and because Star Trek is Star Trek, there's no like canon expanded universe. It's just a bunch of content.
well, there's a few
So,
things that we know had to have happened. Somehow the Borg and the Changelings got together.
mhm.
Somehow one of the two figured out that Picard has a son. Somehow one of the two figured out that Picard would have passed on his DNA, but instead of being a receiver, his son would be a transmitter. Uh, and they would have had to do this in time to infect all of Starfleet
With receiver DNA.
with receiver DNA through the transporters, and they'd have to get Jack to come and be the voice, the transmitter.
Mhm.
Eh,
And they would have to infiltrate Starfleet to implement a fleet-wide automative control system so that all the ships would basically be acting as one.
why is that even necessary? If the Borg took over every ship but the Excelsior, by the way,
May she rest in peace.
did we kill Elnor off on screen? Did we kill off Elnor off screen?
Was he back on the Excelsior?
I
I
thought
guess
he
he
was.
was. Yeah, I guess he was at the end of last season. I was thinking that too because he was on the Excelsior, but
But I mean, they
I
don't
don't
all need
know.
to act as one because every ship's taken over. Doesn't fucking whatever.
The
This
reason
whole thing is
Joe Bob,
preposterous. So
the
let's just
reason
fucking move on.
the reason that they needed the whole fleet to act as one is so that we could resurrect the D.
That's true.
That's the only
Yes.
reason. That's the
That is
only reason
true.
they needed to act as one.
That is true. Let me say something good. The fucking Enterprise F coming out of space dock, making that big sweeping sexy turn with the
Oh, this was
fireworks
Starship
going off.
porn to the nth degree. This
Yeah.
whole episode.
Sploosh.
I mean, when the D started lighting up, I mean it was gorgeous. It was amazing. It was the best it's ever looked.
I didn't love the Odyssey class in Star Trek Online, but it looked goddamn gorgeous coming out of space dock in this shot. And then something old, something new. The old is Fleet Admiral Shelby is at the helm. I was like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
She passed up everybody.
Well, who was that now? I guess I didn't catch that.
Best of both worlds. Remember the
You-
commander that was rivals with
Lieutenant
Riker?
Commander.
Was she a lieutenant? I thought she was just a full. No, you're right. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
There was a blonde, curly-haired lieutenant commander that was the expert on the Borg who beamed aboard, and she was like bitching out a Riker. She was basically calling him a pussy for staying on the D instead of taking command. It's a good thing he didn't, because he got offered command of the Melbourne, maybe one of the ships that got destroyed. Do you remember the shot where they're going when they get to Wolf 359 and they're going through the ship graveyard? Shelby is there, and she's like, the Kyushu, the Melbourne, she's like calling out all the destroyed ships.
Which one are you talking to? Me or Warden?
You.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
That was
yeah,
that was Shelby.
Okay.
So she was very
So just an Easter
anti-Borg.
egg, basically, is what it was.
Well, yeah, because she lasted
yeah.
for like 2 seconds before they
Yes, she
shot her.
did not last long.
To her credit, she answered Picard's hail. She wasn't like, "Get the fuck out of here, old man." She's like, "What you got going on? What's all this about the Borg?" And she's like, "What? No, what are you doing? Stop." So I guess we are to assume that everyone over 25 in Starfleet just got brutally murdered.
Yeah, geriatricide.
Holy shit! That's gonna affect experience and manpower for a little while.
Talk about freeing up the housing market.
Back in social commentary. Oh, I mean, I think what it was saying in reality to all those, all the Gen Zers out there is like, they're trying to make you into drones. You should murder your boomer overlords horrifically. Take over. Act as one. I don't know. That's just me.
But thank goodness we're noble enough that we're going to shoot blue pew-pews at them to only stun them when they're clearly trying to kill all of us.
Well, that's the something blue. Something old was Shelby, something new was the F, something barred was the D, and something blue was set phasers to stun.
There you go.
We had it all for the celebration. Oh, and
Of course, Frontier Day was still it was an asinine premise to start with.
This is so goddamn stupid. It's hard for me to like really cheer for our heroes when I'm like, the Federation's so goddamn stupid. They deserve to be destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Because, the fleet engages Bukkake mode and just one onslaught, just a wall of fire headed towards space dock.
I gotta. Yeah. I don't even know.
And need I remind you that all this happened, the only way this was able to happen is because Jackie Boy went to see the Queen.
Yeah.
He was the only way to send the signal to everybody. But he's like, I'll kill her myself. And he gets there and she's like,
You can't kill
Wasn't
me.
sure what to name you. Fox. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. They use something Latin for voice. She's like, it means voice for those of you who know hablo latine. I'm like, it's not as cool when you fucking say it. Yeah. She's like,
Because
have
I
you
don't
heard...
want you to miss the subtext.
Mhm. Oh my God. And she's like, well, if you were going to kill me, you'd have killed me. So obviously you're too much of a pussy. Here, take some nanites. And his eyes turn black and he sends out the signal. And Seven's like, oh, it's a Borg signal. And everybody's like, oh no. So the fleet's fucked. Shelby's dead. Picard's like, we have to get off the ship. And the Excelsior survived. Something on maintenance,
Briefly.
which triggers something in Shaw. He's like, no one ever goes to the maintenance sub-level. So Picard, the first thing Picard does is say, everyone to
Meet
the
us at the
maintenance
maintenance
sub-level.
sub-level.
And Shaw's like, what the fuck, dude? So everybody
Oh, boy.
converges on the maintenance sub-level, and he's like, oh no, it looks like we're cut off. Oh well, everyone that's OG Star Trek, get on the ship to leave. Everyone else, nice knowing you fuckers. And so
Put on this red shirt.
Shaw and Rafi start fighting, and Seven and everybody else go. And Picard's like, I'm sorry, Seven. I meant OG Next Generation. And she's like, fine. So she goes to fight with Shaw and Rafi, and then Shaw takes one to the chest. And we don't see a death certificate, but I think they killed him off, which sucks because I liked Shaw.
I came around on Shaw towards the end.
Well,
Mhm.
he said, it's your ship now. 7 of 9.
Which was more poignant in this moment since the Borg were back. She should have been like, dude, that's kind of messed up. Like, call me Annika. I don't want to get shot. You know, seriously. Yeah,
He goes, my name is Annika Hansen.
yeah. That'd have been the best. Yeah, I am no Borg.
Shaw's last words would have
I
been,
am one of one.
fucking unassimilated.
It's a shame that we didn't rename the show Sheer Fucking Solids.
I thought about it, but
So, all right, but so
look,
they get off
you
on a
can do the
shuttlecraft.
musical number or we can rename the show. You don't get to pick both. All right.
I love how easy it is to turn a transponder off in a shuttle, where it's just like, I kind of just want to be off the grid for a while. You'd think this would be a security threat
Mm-hmm.
if
Well,
people could
especially
just be
considering
bebopping off of ships and just turning it off.
we found out it's goddamn impossible to turn it off on an the actual star ship. But
Yeah, and it wasn't even like he had to hack the code. It was like turning his
Beep.
high beams off.
mm-hmm. Oh, so our OG Next G crew heads to Fleet Museum and says, Geordi, we need something analog. Geordi's like, you knew it was coming, motherfuckers. I think we pretty much called this word for word.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel good about it because
Except for the part where we said, well, we can't use the E. And Worf says, that was not my fault.
that was funny. I think he was captain of it in some like novel. So there, but he's like, we even said he's gonna say it was a pet project. I've been restoring it. Got a drive section from another galaxy class. He was like word for word. We had read the script.
Mm-hmm. When the cells from one, you know, I love how they're like, well, we couldn't violate the Prime Directive and leave a massive saucer section on the planet, so we had to salvage it. I'm like, do you remember what that planet looked like after it crashed?
The
I think
gods
the
have
Prime
plowed the
Directive
fields
was,
for us.
I think the Prime Directive was out the window at that point.
Uh, Look,
Yes, but they whipped out the D.
they
They
whipped out
whipped out the D. He took it out.
He took it out, and everybody took their places
That's
where they
right.
stood in where they sat or stood in season 1.
Yeah, they had to
Data
go
was-
old school.
Data. Hello, chair.
Had to put Geordi back on the bridge.
I'm
The only-
surprised. I'm surprised he didn't like find a visor underneath it and be like, "Hey, I remember this thing,"
That's
and put it on.
Or that they resisted Data sitting down and being like, life forms. Do. Well, that would have been a Strange New World. Never mind.
That would have been.
They didn't do that here.
Oh,
Data
dear
made it
Lord.
funny when he's like, "This is not gonna go well," and Jordy's like, "Data, be positive." He's like, "Maybe they'll kill us quickly."
We will
With
die
his-
quickly. Yeah.
his
I
smile
did-
on his face.
I didn't like Data's like
I'm digging
fatalism.
the
I
new
think
Data. Yeah. Oh boy.
Picard gets on there. He's like, "Now that all of us are together again on this bridge, I remember what I missed the most: being able to see with goddamn lights. Thank you. I love this beautiful fucking fluorescent glow." And I was like, "Yes, Jean-Luc, I fucking agree with you." He also says something about the carpet.
yes, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah. About it matching the drapes.
I'll
When he winks
admit,
at Beverly.
Jesus.
it's like they didn't dye this carpet. I will say this. I said last week, the Galaxy class isn't my favorite, but there are some angles it does look good from. And it looked good in 4K up there, beautifully re-rendered, whatever model they built for it.
Oh yeah, it did.
It looked damn good. And while the Galaxy may not have been my favorite, that bridge is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like
It's a
that
good
bridge. It has character. All the other ones look the fucking same to me, except for the TOS bridge. I'm talking about anything,
Basically anything sense. Yeah.
So I wonder if
Jean-Luc
there's going to
sits
be like a
down and
Picard ready
says,
room shot, and do you think that they'll remember to like take all the memorabilia that we've seen throughout the last 3 seasons, littered around like where the Picard or the big picture of the Enterprise D that used to be in Picard's ready room isn't there anymore? You think they're going to remember to do that level of detail?
I
Well,
mean,
they're
I
gonna
don't even know
forget.
that we're gonna.
he's going to go in the ready room and it's going to be there's going to be a wrapped gift, and it's going to say "from Laris," and he's going to unwrap it, and it's going to be the picture of the D.
Oh my God, she did box it up.
Yep.
I hate you. If that is true, I'm going to hate you.
Jordy's
Guys, they
gonna be like,
literally have like a lot of. They have so much ground to cover in an episode and a half at the point that we're talking. So
Well, I can
I
only
really
assume
don't
Laris
know.
and Girardi can't be in there.
Yeah,
it's
I
too late.
just.
Jordy's gonna be like, I put everything back the way it was, and like he's gonna look at the fish tank. It's just gonna be like bones of the fish like floating there.
It's a goldfish cracker.
It's a goldfish cracker.
You know. I mean, look.
Oh, yeah, you
This
caught me with the Friends
this is
reference
the
out of
bottom
nowhere.
the ninth. This is the bottom of the ninth. No starting pitchers are coming back out. So no Laris, no Girardi, no I don't even remember what the Asian girl's name was anymore.
Oh, the traveler, well, she's been like four or five different
Soji,
characters.
yeah. Soji, and then
Bali,
whatever, yeah.
Sung, whatever her Sung name was, and then
Yeah.
You think Picard's curling Nace will be back in there?
I doubt
don't know.
it.
He really liked that thing in whatever the riddle me this episode was. I can't fucking remember the name of it. The Chase.
Yep, the Chase. That's what it was.
Oh my god. Yeah. Yep. So Picard,
Can you
it ends with
imagine what it would
Picard.
take for one man to refurbish a Galaxy-class starship?
Well, he had a
I mean, can
laundry as
we just
well.
unpack that a little
That's why he
bit?
was so pissed at Sydney. It's like, I had to do the whole goddamn sauce section, just me and Erlandria. So it ends with Picard sitting in his chair and he throws the two fingers up and says, I want the ship to go.
Make it go.
And I don't know where
Yes.
the fuck they're going because they don't know where Jack is, right? Or does Picard know where he is because he's the receiver?
Yeah,
Well,
triangulate it. I thought they were going back to Earth.
I think they're just going. They're going back to Earth to like
Fight the entire fucking fleet?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, look, the drones were loading up torpedoes as they spoke. I mean, do you remember how like arrogant Picard was in Generations when he's like, maybe they're trying to decide if a 20-year-old bird of prey is a match for the flagship of the Federation. You think the Enterprise F is going to be saying that when he rolls up in the D? They're like, oh, maybe he's trying to figure out if a 20-year-old, refurbished antique is a match for the flagship of the Federation. And the answer is probably going to be no.
Probably
Or
not because they're Borg now and Borg are boring. They'll be like, resistance is futile or some stupid bullshit. So wait, why didn't they just like replace? Did they put the transporter architecture in like the ones at Starfleet Academy too? Or like, why not put it in all the transporters on planet Earth? I mean, you could have already assimilated all of Earth. Well, everybody's 25. Why just do the ones in the starships?
I don't know
That's a
that
good
they
question.
did just do the ones in the starships.
Well, but they're about to go bombard Earth.
I guess what I'm asking is, what does the Borg need with a starship?
Oh, man.
Well, they look like they were about to go carpet bomb Earth, so
That's what they said. Target planetary defenses or whatever.
I mean, they're going to be killing a lot of their drones. Just, I mean,
They're drones. They're replaceable.
God, that is so cold-hearted, Warden.
Seven didn't feel that way when they all got spaced.
Yeah, well, that's 7.
Do you think Seven's going to somehow actually become the new queen of the Borg, and she's going to
Nah.
undo all the damage?
No, I
Or
think
did that
she's
ship
gonna.
sail in season 1 when she blasted them all out the airlock?
Nope, I think that ship sailed when Girardi became the queen. I think Seven's gonna make kissy faces with Rafi. And they're gonna come back together after this harrowing. They're gonna escape death somehow. Even though they're two people on a ship full of Borg.
She's
Well,
she's
thought
gonna be
they
the
went
captain
ahead
of the
and
Titan.
Yeah, I thought they jumped back on the shuttle, didn't they? Oh, they didn't.
No, Picard left them there. He's like, the D only has a certain number of bridge stations. You have to understand.
Oh boy. And I've kind of got a lock on stellar cartography myself, Seven. So we don't really need you down there, or Astro, whichever lab she was always hanging
No,
out
that
in.
one. Yeah, you got it right.
I remember he had that.
Yeah.
He had that attribute on his Star Trek: The Customizable Card Game card.
Something of a
God,
Renaissance
screw you,
man.
Joe Bob.
Let the hate flow through you.
I can feel your anger.
You want
Boy.
this, don't you? I'm
Don't
holding up a
you?
copy of the contract. Any
Oh man,
way.
if only I had known about notary publics back then, it could have saved me so much childhood trauma.
Any way. God damn. You always manage to bring that up. Don't know how.
We're talking about Star Trek. I mean,
It
how
doesn't matter.
let's do a podcast on some totally unrelated show and see if I can still bring it in.
I mean,
Although at this point, I mean, sometimes I feel like Star Trek is a totally unrelated show. So
it's tangentially related to Star Trek. All right. That was the big stupid Picard penis ultimate episode. It was
predictions.
who fucking cares? I mean,
Let's just get it over. My only incentive to go ahead and record tonight instead of putting it off later in the week is so we can get this over with.
yeah, I know. I mean, they're gonna get to Jack. They're gonna talk Jack into sending a new signal that says
They're going to reverse the polarity on Jack.
yeah. He's like, "Hey, everybody."
I release you.
And then like we're gonna be like, "All right, bring back everybody that they murdered that was over 25." And Jack's gonna be like, "Oh, I couldn't do that." Jack's gonna want to kill himself because it's gonna be like, "All those people died because of me." And Jean-Luc's gonna be like, "I know what it's like to hate yourself for being a weapon, but you've got to let it go, Jack. Don't let it define you like I did." He'll do some. It'll be some bullshit like that.
Theatrical speech.
Yeah. And then Will and Deanna will go home to find their kid, who probably is a Borg drone at the moment. Maybe they'll get there and their other kid will have been like resurrected by the
God.
like mommy, daddy.
Like Pet Cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
This
Is
Well, they did it. They actually did it. They've culminated this into one total big cluster mess. So we'll see. We'll see what they do with it.
In fairness, as bizarre and out there as this is, it's still better than season 2.
and one.
And one. Oh, it is coherent. It's still
It's stupid,
the
but it's
premise
coherent.
is stupid, but at least it's coherent.
I mean, I'd go so far to say that if it weren't for Strange New Worlds, this might be the best season of New Trek.
Yeah.
I had fun with Disco season 1, but there were some big old problems with it too.
Really? Really? We got to do a show about that.
1 or 2. I think I would like this a lot better if the last time we had seen the Borg had been
A couple years ago.
No. I said I would like it better if the last time I had seen the Borg had been like Best of Both Worlds.
Okay.
Maybe First Contact. But like we talked about this earlier in the season. The Borg, what made the Borg interesting, because they don't have these interesting, they're not real people. So it's
They
not
don't
like
have
the
a culture.
Cardassians that
Yeah.
you can kind of dive in and see what makes them tick, and you can have interactions with them. There's no logic, or there's no emotion, there's no reasoning with them, there's no appealing to anything. The terrifying thing about the Borg is they're so foreign, they're totally unknown, and they're totally unstoppable. Well, we've seen them so much that they're not really a mystery anymore, and that air of invincibility is gone because like we've beaten the Borg like 65 times at this point. So I'm just like, really? The Borg again?
Well, not to
Instead of
mention
being
that at
like,
this point, the Borg are like what's left after Janeway rode them hard and them away wet. So I just...
yeah. So I mean, if the last time we had seen the Borg was Best of Both Worlds, you would be like, oh, fuck me, the Borg. But instead of like, oh, we're doing the Borg. Of course we're. I mean, this is the third fucking season. I guess we didn't really see him in season 1 of Picard. Definitely saw him in season 2. I mean, they were all over Voyager.
Yeah, you
First
get
Contact.
2 or 3 seasons in, and that's they're there all the time. Well, which was bound to happen. In fairness, because the Borg are from the frickin' Delta Quadrant, so it's. But yeah, they've played that card a lot. One hopes that they end them somehow in a way that, it's done. I doubt they will, but
No, they won't. I mean, they're gonna keep going back to that well for a while. I feel like it may not be the. It's probably obviously it's not going to be the TNG cast because I'm guessing this is it for them.
I mean,
But there's no reason they're going to leave it alone.
well, and the Girardi Borg will still be out there.
Yeah. I think this is the Borg. It sounded like the Borg Queen from the First Contact.
Mhm.
It did. Is she not dead? Didn't she get like vaporized?
Well, but she came. Well, but the whole thing about First Contact was, Picard said, "Didn't you die on the Borg cube?" And she's like, "Oh, your understanding of the cosmos is so linear or something." So like she exists through space and time.
I guess so.
No babble.
She is the collective, so isn't she just like a manifestation? So she could remanifest wherever.
But
There's Borginess.
The fact that they didn't actually show her face in this episode still makes me wonder where they're going to take it. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Girardi's Borg provisionally a member of the Federation at this point, based on season 2?
Mhm.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, isn't Girardi the Borg Queen?
She is the queen of
Her
An
collective.
alternate timeline.
She is the queen of a group of Borg.
The nice Borg.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Shaw mentioned that in his little speech. He's like, "I'm not talking about the hippy dippy commune of friendly Borgs." He's like, "I'm talking about the real bad bitch." I think this is a real bad bitch. I don't know. I don't know why they didn't show her face. Maybe for suspense. Maybe she's. I don't know. Maybe that chick. Maybe the actress. The actress is still alive, right?
Yeah. Wait.
Professor Frank.
I was all ready to be confident, and then I can't. I think there've been two actresses who've played her the most. One of them did pass away. But I cannot remember which.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter. They did it for suspense.
Yeah. But I think I do recall that it whoever it was one of those actresses. It's not
But
like
the fact that she's obviously like dangling up in the ceiling to me was that's why I was wondering if it was maybe just like the upper half from the First Contact Borg.
And speaking of we were talking I think last week about like references to like other media. Did anybody else get like I don't know, maybe Revenge of Skywalker vibes at all? From the Borg Queen and
yeah, they're gonna drop her down.
Yeah.
Her face is gonna be all fucked up, and
there's gonna be like a bunch of test tube Borg Queens everywhere.
She's gonna like heal herself by sucking Jack's
diode. Dyad, whatever it was. Oh, it was so stupid.
Oh, I thought it was a diode. Yeah, I think it might be a diode. Duodenum. Whatever. It was so goddamn stupid.
Oh, you have such little understanding of the cosmos. The first 8 episodes didn't actually happen.
You know what? I'll take back everything I said about this season. If the D comes to face down all of Starfleet and Lando warps in with just every civilian craft in the whole goddamn Alpha Quadrant.
Oh man.
That
Look,
happens,
we
I'm
all
on
know what's
board.
gonna happen. Jada is going to hack the Borg system and take back over the fleet. And then they're gonna turn it on the Borg and they're gonna throw the D at them one last time and blow them up for good.
I think the Borg cube is going to show up and the Queen's going to be like, Locutus, you stopped slipping me the D, but I found a replacement. And you're going to see Jackie Boy be the Borg king. Like, he's so much better than you. And Picard will do his Picard speech, and then Jack will say, gotcha. And he'll turn everybody back to normal. He'll say it was all a ruse and it worked perfectly. And they're like, 70,000 people just died. He's like, oh, fuck.
They were olds.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Anyway, I don't want to talk about it anymore. I just want to watch the next episode and just get it over with.
Get it over with.
Yep.
There you go.
Star Trek Picard, Season 3, Episode 9, Vox means voice.
Vox means. Okay.
The other episode that we watched was Star Trek Strange New World, Season 2, Episode 9. Well, we came off of sandwiched in between Lower Decks and Subspace Rhapsody, we had freaking whatever, Under the Cloak of War. This is another one that's very heavy.
This one?
Mm,
Yeah.
Subspace Rhapsody?
Mm-hmm.
It's really weighty on you, huh?
Yeah.
Strange New Worlds missed the memo that they only got 2 hijinks episodes a season, and they threw another one at us.
All right. Willie, before I transfer the command code, my final order to you as captain of the show is to be as good about letting Warden get through this as you are to me each week.
Done.
Warden, you have the con.
Okay. If you insist. So do we want to do a synopsis or
Insofar as you can.
I mean there's a plot.
Synopsize. We have a format to this show. And
Just
you're
give us
already
the
going
track
rogue.
list. We'll know.
I do my own thing, man.
Warden, I can
so-
see Warden now flipping the CD on the back so he can read us the plot summary.
So basically we're the Enterprise is I'm not good at this kind of thing, so this is going to be quick. Is studying on the site studying a subspace fold. Spock has theorized that is super excited as
Spice melange.
in his way that it would be like it could be a way to triple the speed of subspace communication or whatever. And he's
just point of discussion. He's like, right now it takes a week to send a signal from one end of the quadrant to the other. This would triple the speed. Imagine instant communication. I'm like, wait.
Yeah, they definitely dialed it up as they went.
What?
Yeah.
Get used to this, Warden.
Your
This is
Spock
what we
is
do.
Spock. Your math is a little messed up. Yes. But at any rate,
this episode had an awful lot of techno babble in it too, though. So,
I mean, yeah.
It looks like a big space vagina, just kind of.
Yeah, I was about to say until we started exposing ourselves with a zipper. You know the
shit. Okay, so
I just don't like Peloton.
But
I still can't get on board with Peloton. But
she's
this
throwing
space vagina's been around though, because when they go hello, it just echoes hello.
That's right.
Reverberate.
But if you play the right tune on it, buddy, it gets ready to go.
It purrs like a kitten.
Okay, so
Runs like a deer.
this particular situation is a little rough on Uhura. She is having to basically, like,
If they had played John Deere Green into it, if that had been the song that set it off, I would have given this episode an extra thumb up.
They should have.
so Uhura's overworked, and they're kind of getting ready for the
As a
and they
switch room operator.
basically, yeah.
Seems an odd side gig for your communications officer.
They really
Well-
missed the opportunity to harken back to those commercials about Star Trek being on right before Andy Griffith. One of the calls should have been, "Hey,
Yeah.
can you connect me to Helen Crump, please, Miss Uhura?" Sure thing. Thank you much. Like cuts to him in black and white.
It's too bad she wasn't actually working a switchboard.
I know, right? I mean, why not go for broke?
Exactly. Warden, continue.
I'm just waiting for you to wind down.
Well, that's not how this works. Occasionally you have to get mad at me and tell me to shut the fuck up. You gotta finish.
So, basically, and there's the mention of the fact that Chapel's up for yet another fellowship of some sort, and is all flustered about that.
Unlike the last one, she really wants this one.
Mhm.
Yeah. And apparently Kirk is coming. So, yay, I guess. So,
'Cause he also took singing lessons.
so,
So we need him to be here.
You skipped.
so,
I have a quick question. Was Pike cooking in this episode?
I mean, I'm trying to remember.
You skipped the part where he was making jambalaya for Captain Bay.
Yes,
Or
I
not
do remember
jambalaya,
that.
something.
Yeah.
Something like that. And planning a vacay.
Yes. Yes. It really it was a private conversation. So
It's all right though, 'cause she gets called away on a priority one, which I'm sure is going to be what episode 10 is about.
They're planning their vacation. Pike's like, I'm thinking the mountains. She's like, I want to go somewhere classy, like Atlantic City. He's like, oh God. I'm so
Trump Tower.
touristy.
So yeah, well, and actually I hadn't gotten there yet, so you were jumping the gun. So, so yes,
Yes,
they
you
were
win.
planning their vacation. All right, so
You hadn't gotten there yet. Oh, God, speed it up, Warden.
do you want me to mute you?
Have I ever muted you? Have I ever muted Willie?
I've never been this obnoxious. No, I'm just
Au contraire.
So in the Una and Lon are in the transporter room, and Lon's being all like schoolgirl, and like, oh, Kirk is coming, but she's trying to act like she doesn't care, because she has to, do his security clearance, because I don't know.
Got to pat him down, try and touch his wiener.
Yeah, basically. Lon, I'm not gonna read through all of this. Basically, Kirk arrives. It's awkward, as it's been previously when Kirk and Lon are around each other since that one episode where they went to Canada. So they keep.
I don't know why. It's not like she imagines herself being pregnant with his child or anything.
Well, I mean,
Unbeknownst to her, but knowns to us. He's already knocked somebody up though.
Oh my God.
so and
Way to sidestep that one. He probably just keeps a woman knocked up like all the time, so he has that as an excuse. Yeah, sorry, I'm kind of in a thing right now.
He just lied. He left and he called up Carol. He's like, Carol, baby, I hate to
Can I
do this,
take
but
you out for a drink?
yeah, he's like, we got to fuck quick, and no, I'm coming in with no shields.
Think fertile thoughts. Yeah. Okay. So then we cut to sickbay. Chapel is still like flustered. Blah blah blah. Okay. Okay. We're in engineering. Spock is preparing for his experiment. They failed 12 times to send a message through. It's
But lucky number 13 will be better.
that. So they're like trying to game plan how to do this in a way that's, maybe change things up to be successful, and it
Well,
gets
by God, it worked in Temple of Doom.
What?
The song. That was what they were singing in the opening scene of Temple of Doom.
Anything goes,
anything
yeah.
goes, yeah. Which, by the way, is the theme for this season of Strange New Worlds. Anything goes. There are no bad
fair.
ideas.
Come on, let's spitball here. There's no bad ideas.
Glenn, that's a bad idea.
But they're like, hey, let's try music, and they're like, okay, and Spock's like, actually, that might be a good idea, and he tells Uhura to pick the song. She pulls one out of the Great American Songbook and starts playing, and anything goes. The music goes out to the
Did not include it in the original Chinese version.
Song missing with your mom that being my bow. Anything goes.
Jeez. Oh boy.
So it goes out to the fold, an energy wave comes back, and it dramatically goes through all the ship. And people are like, that was weird, and keep walking.
Theatrically goes through all the ship, not dramatically. It's literally a shockwave, a visible shockwave we see passing through there.
It's the slowest shockwave I've ever seen.
And then suddenly Spock starts singing.
And Bing is taking a sonic shower to like calm his PTSD, and he starts singing all of a sudden in the shower.
And we get our first musical number status report. And I will come back to individual song discussion later. I want to just get through the freaking plot right now. So
I may not join you for individual song conversations. I'm just gonna warn you. Except for Ethan Peck, who was, I think he was pretty damn good.
So
he's the MVP of this episode.
So we get the opener of Act 1, and probably the most apt statement of this particular trope or whatever. Pike says, "So that happened."
Before that, we get the intro in acapella.
Yeah, we did get that,
which was pretty cool. I liked it. Okay. So that happened. They meet with the crew. There's musical outbreaks are happening all over the ship. Kirk assumed that it was like, a flash mob that they all had planned for him until he started singing. I'm like, wow.
You bring him over to the Enterprise, you're going to have so much fucking fun. You'll be whistling zippity doo-dah out of your assholes.
I was watching that. I was like, who the fuck would plan singing just for a laugh? And Willie texted me right at that moment, like, hey, should we sing for the intro? I was like, sure. My favorite part of the episode, actually my second favorite part of the episode, is La'an is like, Captain, this could be a real problem. People are singing their innermost desires and deepest secrets. It could be a security breach. And Ortegas walks by. She's like, I'm a pilot. I fly. And she's like, well, not that idiot, but people that have interesting inner monologues. Fucking Ortega.
Oh, God.
I do think it's hilarious that she once again identified herself as the pilot, and this time in song.
Well,
so she continues. I'm
a pilot.
I just find it hilarious that is Ortega's most innermost emotionally charged That is her character.
I'm
She-
the
You know that
pilot.
she
you know the
pilot,
episode
she
the episode
flies.
of Scrubs where they're like it is the musical episode of or one of the musical episodes of Scrubs and they're like what's going on inside of Todd's brain? He's like dum da dum da dum da Chinese scalpel. Dum da dum da dum da dum da gonna slice him up. That's what Ortega's doing. Dum da dum da
No.
dum da I'm the pilot. Dum da dum da dum da dum da gonna fly the ship.
See, I went to Saturday Night Live. There was an episode of Saturday Night Live where it was like Phil Hartman and I think Julia Sweeney were on a date. They like went back to their house and like they would say something like, "Do you want a glass of wine?" And then you'd hear his inner monologue be like, "Yeah, take the wine, and then I'm gonna take you to bed." She's like, "Oh, I'm not sure if I should." And then you hear her inner monologue be like, "Oh, he's so very charming." And then his roommate comes in. It's Joe Montana. He's like, "Oh," it's like, "This is my roommate Stu." And you hear Hartman's monologue go like, "God, you fucking moron! Why'd you have to come now?" And Joe Montana goes, "I'm very pleased to meet you." And then you hear his monologue. He says, "I'm very pleased to meet her." And it's just whatever he says. That's what his inner monologue is. That's like Ortega. She'd be like, "I'm a pilot. I fly," and then her inner monologue would be, "I'm the pilot. I fly." Anyway.
So they're having the staff meeting trying to figure out what's going on, and blah blah blah, quantum uncertainty, blah blah blah. None of this makes too much sense if you think about it too long.
Can't think about it.
And long story short, Lon, I do love when Lon worries about poof, they all turn into bunnies, and Mbenga's like, I would very much not like to be bunny.
Yeah.
I think it was like everybody sings, and I do not sing.
I don't think we're going to be bunnies.
The bunnies
Yeah.
is a reference to Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's the show that kind of pioneered this type of episode where
Mhm.
something happens and the characters break into music and they realize something's fucked up because of it. Like it's not just a musical episode, but they're aware and the characters in character are like, we shouldn't be doing this. Because I was wondering, I'm like, when did this fucking become a thing? Because like I know I've seen Scrubs
It's
do it,
been
I've seen
too much of a
Lucifer do
thing.
it.
How much your
And,
mother's done it.
yeah. And it started with Buffy, and it had something to do, somehow they were referencing bunnies in it and turning into bunnies. I don't know. I didn't watch Buffy, so I'm getting murdered in the fucking comment section right now. They're like bashing the keyboard. They're like, in the episode, this is what happened. You did not describe it accurately. Black magic fuckery.
Well, I've never seen Buffy either. And at this point, it's too late to go back. There is too much on the I need to see that list for me to. I give up. But at any
Gordon, have
Well,
rate,
you
that
learned
you're
nothing
you're
from
not a
Picard?
13-year-old boy.
Have you learned nothing from Picard? It's never too late to go back.
no,
Never
it really
too late.
is.
Dang.
I've learned plenty from Picard, and I know for a fact it can be, in fact,
Gordon,
too late
get
to
the
go back.
show on the road. We've got to get through this.
God damn, dude. You
You
are
know what,
really.
fuckers?
Are we at the point where they've started singing yet?
We are actually well past that point.
Okay, good.
So they are looking at the possibility of basically the improbability field looks like a zipper. Oh, maybe we could zip it back up. Oh, okay, let's try to do that. So they're going to apparently connect the navigational vector to the Heisenberg. Again, don't think too hard.
Don't overthink it.
Yeah.
We just had to get Kirk and Una in a Jeffries tube together so they could sing.
So yeah, the zipper beam had
With
to
Lon
exactly
creepily watching.
Very
creepily
creepily.
I'm trying to remember some of this. So
I
sorry.
mean, Yeah, they do it, and it reverberates again.
Yes.
The labia flaps and rebounds, and they
And
know that they done fucked up because Captain Bay calls and starts rhyming.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You actually summarized that well, thank you. They are, and that's 2 or 3 songs at that point.
I did like when Una's like, we can confirm, or Captain April confirmed in a beautiful baritone that is happening
Yes.
all across the
Yeah,
A surprisingly
that was
beautiful
funny.
baritone.
That was funny.
So and it's
They showed the map, by the way, and I was
Mhm.
like, oh, we're right by the Klingon neutral zone, and I like leaned over to my daughter. I'm like, I hope we get singing Klingons.
Well,
Well,
we're
just
on
hold your tits, buddy.
Careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so we have cut to basically Act 2 at this point. Admiral April, blah blah blah. More meeting, more this isn't working, what are we gonna do? They're thinking about just shooting torpedoes at the damn thing.
Well, it
But
worked for the gas station.
but they're like, you know what? Maybe we ought to test this. I'm like, this is literally the first scientific or technical thing that you've done that makes sense.
Well, I don't know. It's like Spock and Boimler in the lab last episode or 2 episodes ago, whatever it was.
Spock is blowing a lot of shit up. That's a good point, Willie.
he's found his inner Mythbuster.
They should have a room on the Enterprise where they can eject things through a tube at the top of the saucer section for his experiments. Use the
Tardigrade
ejection
release
tube.
chamber. Oh my god.
I forgot how stupid that was. Jeez.
Oh my
Man,
god.
But
that
they're
was so stupid.
Dehydrated Tardigrade that just like rehydrated once it got in space and warped off. So wonderful. Oh my god.
Dude, the most singularly purposed piece of equipment ever.
See, they should have fucking gone for broke. They should have had, when they needed more songs, they should have had, because they didn't have to explain anything in this episode. They should have had the turbo lifts open up and out comes Ripper. And then Jacob comes flying out. It's like, you said you would see me again, Captain Pike, and now here I am, so pass me the mic. You know?
You know, rhymes come to you awfully easily, Joe Bob. I got it.
I don't know.
Anyway,
I'm a cocksmith, but for words, whatever that would be called. I guess a wordsmith.
yeah, okay.
Anyway,
Um,
I'm. By the way, just let me throw this in there. I'm pissed off that Pike said he would see Jacob again, and we've gone through almost a full 2 episodes of Strange New Worlds, and we've not seen Jacob again.
I mean,
Hashtag bring back Jacob. Anyway,
he'll be flapping through a nebula somewhere. So
No, when Pike goes in the boo box, he's gonna have his blonde bimbo and Jacob there.
oh,
Or
that'd
well,
be
actually
so,
not in the boo
that's
box,
so
but
sweet if Jacob
when he
like
goes
was
back
his
to the planet.
caretaker. Oh, now I'm sad.
okay, so they're wanting to do a controlled environment. Yay! Fine, thank God, something smart. But they're like, but Uhura's like, oh, that's going to require cross targeting. To which Kirk very wittily applies, well, thank goodness we have 2 persons right here. So they go and Una's like, no, I don't want to do it.
I'm just gonna put it out there for Kirk to have knowingly having knocked someone up already. He threw out a lot of mixed signals to Lon in
Yes,
this
he
episode.
did. Yes, he did.
It's James Kirk.
Well, I mean, in fairness,
He would probably be,
he was probably down for a quick fuck, but then when she was like, "You and I met and fell in love, and we're going to spend our lives together in an alternate timeline," he's like, "Whoa, whoa,
Got stage
red
5
alert,
clinger here.
red alert." There, I am not going into this shit with that kind of expectations. No, no, no.
so Una's Lon's like wants to refuse the assignment, and Una's like, okay, no, you don't do that, and they have this musical conversation in which they talk about like about
Boy,
keeping secrets and keeping secrets and that kind of thing. So and at what point there's for some reason logical reason other than it's musical
is this the one
musical
where they
logic.
shut the gravity off
Yeah,
and they
that's
start?
musical
Yes.
logic. Yeah. Um,
Yes, it was. Oh,
um,
dear God.
so
What they didn't
Lon,
show was the massacre and the bulkhead areas where all like the cargo containers started falling on everybody.
well, I mean, yeah,
Oh my God, the humanity!
There are
but
entrails everywhere.
so Lon ends up throwing Kirk in the transporter room. They're doing the particles. He apologizes for, sounding like he was giving orders. And then, they have this conversation. She doesn't confess yet, does she? Oh,
No,
yeah.
I have no idea where
It's
we are.
it implies at this point that she's about to, and then the ship rocks because apparently Spock has done his experiment. Turns out,
I know she tells him, even though emotional moments make you sing, she has the most emotional moment of the episode, telling him and does it in words.
holds it together. Yeah,
In conversation, because
Mhm,
singing does technically involve words, I believe, as well. So
mhm.
more accurately, conversation. But anyway,
So the test explosion proved that they really don't want to shoot torpedoes at it, because it will destroy like
God,
everything.
I was so hoping this was how the Federation Klingon War restarted. I was like, surely this is not where we're going with this. But we didn't. We went somewhere much darker, which was boy band Klingons.
K-pop.
Hey, yeah, K-pop. So here we get a message. We get a message from
Oh
a General
man,
Garkog from the Imperial Klingon Defense Force.
Hey, it's
And
Himmer again.
do what?
huh?
They brought Himmer back again. Um, the Klingon captain
Oh,
was Himmer.
oh,
Was the guy who
oh,
plays
okay.
Himmer.
I didn't realize that.
Did not either.
They should have had Zombie Himmer come out and sing,
I should have sing Thriller.
"Stop, Himmer time." Oh
Oh
God.
man,
So they're not going to use weapons, and then the Klingons are coming, and they're like, "Oh hell no, we're not going to use weapon. Hell no, hell." The Klingons want to use weapons, so they're coming, and we got to
for the
figure out how to.
Klingon, everything is a subspace fold to be destroyed.
So now we got to figure out how we're going to stop the Klingons because we can't let them destroy everything, and they're trying to figure out how they're going to not destroy the Klingons, but just completely disable every one of their weapon systems before they can get a shot off. Because that's feasible.
Simultaneously.
That's feasible. So Lon's apparently going to be working on it. Asks for Kirk to help her. Pike
And it was probably
shoots.
nitpicky, but when they're
Mhm.
like, "What you got to worry about with the Klingons are the aft torpedoes," I'm like, that doesn't really sound very Klingon to me. They're not much for investing in retreat, but I don't know. Maybe that's an actual thing in canon. I don't know.
I mean, they do the attack runs. They go in. I mean, you can't just constantly go forward. You have to loop back around.
I don't know. I mean, yeah,
It's
well,
like, and what
we're
what
not
not
going to give
everybody
actual.
knows is there's 2 tubes back there. Gotta hit them both.
That's right.
So, meanwhile, Chapel and friends are in the bar celebrating her fellowship. She's like, I don't know if we should be doing this. There's a lot going on, and they're like, no, let's just have a party anyway. And
It's
Spock
episode
comes.
9. We gotta break
soiree.
Spock's heart
Yeah.
before we get to 10, so we can do some Gorn shit.
They go in and. I mean, Spock goes in. Confront is the wrong word, but just asks her, "Hey, so I heard you might have heard something about your fellowship. How did that go?" And she's like, "I don't want to talk about it now." He's like, "Oh,
Yep.
I was just
Spock
curious."
once again exhibits his otherworldly social awareness and asks her in front of everybody, "Well, how come you didn't tell me? Was it personal?" She's
So
like,
she decides to
"I'm just going to
sing
sing about it,
about it
Spock."
and be like, I can't wait to go, and I don't give a shit about leaving you behind, so fuck right off. And he's like, I am now sad. I mean,
I can't believe we didn't break out like Spock's harp. I mean, they've been building up to this for like episodes now with him playing the harp. He should have just been kind of strolling through the halls, playing his harp. Sadly.
Okay, so Lon and Kirk are going over the specifications for the Katinga class,
Yeah.
which, by the way, I did a little research, and yes, this is the earliest chronologically that class is definitively mentioned. So,
I mean, we just got the damn D7s. Lacrell brought them in hot like 2 years ago. They've already refitted and upgraded the Katingas.
I mean, I don't know.
Ikatinga was the best Klingon ship, though, so let's just go with it. Or well, until maybe like later in late TNG or early DS9, or mid DS9.
I really liked the Vorcha, but anyway,
Right. But it was basically an upgraded Katinga.
well,
You
it was a Federation inspired Katinga without, because it's yeah. Anyway, Una suggested that he use we had this conversation. Okay, that's something. Good line about wanting to finally just admit her feelings before she does so in a 17th century sea shanty, which I thought was amusing and actually a missed opportunity. So they talk about the no subject that she wasn't supposed to talk about. He's like, oh, that sounds great. I'm sorry you went through that, but and all, but I've got a girlfriend and she's pregnant. Bye. So
Lorca maneuver out.
horrified Spock in engineering. He is very unhappy.
Hold on, wait.
And sings about it. Go ahead.
One of my favorite parts in the show, and I think it's already happened, was after all the techno babble, Kirk goes, "Spock, good job. You explained that way that I almost understood it." And I'm like,
Mhm.
"Thank you, Kirk. I feel the same way about this episode right now."
Hey, you're back. Are you back?
I heard him dingle. He gone.
We're going to go to a break real quick here and see if we know what happened with Joe Bob. Or we're not, because Joe Bob's back?
I thought you just muted me, honestly.
No,
You
I wouldn't
threatened to.
actually do that. I would tease about that. I would not actually do that.
Oh, okay.
And you weren't even talking at the time anyway.
I thought that was a preemptive shh. Old bag of shh, my name on it. Oh, so did you finish the recap while I was gone?
He did, but after he
Yes,
dragging us down, we
totally.
breezed through it.
I mean,
Okay,
I can see that
so
happening.
Spock sings, then Uhura sings, and we realize, oh, you know what? The way to solve this is
More
for
singing.
everybody to sing and just sing the shit out of it, and that'll make it close.
You gotta do a
So,
finale. A
a
musical
grand finale. Yes.
Yes.
So, we get a nice long grand finale, and then at which point it's we
We need to
at
dial it up.
one point we dial things up big time. There's dancing. We hail the Klingons. Boy band time.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, that
Hilarious.
was unexpected. I thought they were gonna have like this really awkward like Oak Ridge Boys moment, but no, they went a totally opposite direction.
What's funny
And
is
you've got
we've
the
established that Klingons sing on the bridge of their warships. Like it happens a bunch of times in Deep Space Nine. They sing these like battle songs. But
The best part was though that they talked about how you sing your innermost desires, and the Klingons are like, "We want to kill you until your blood runs in the streets."
You're gonna meet your death at the end of my cliff.
Yeah,
Oh,
that part was okay. That part was good.
that was my favorite part of the episode.
And Joe
When I
Bob,
said earlier, my second favorite part of the episode was whatever the fuck I said.
Well, Joe
that was my
Bob, I don't
favorite.
know if you dropped off, but I said one of my favorite parts was where after Spock finished describing the quantum entanglement and the zipper, Kirk was like, "Good job, Spock. You explained that in a way that I almost understood it." And I really related to that moment.
And might I add, excellent use of the word burgle, Admiral. Sorry,
Boy.
that made me think of that. Very oddly placed line.
Yeah.
So we are we have this big number. It's just it's the showstopper, everything, and the fold reverts to the appropriate state, whatever
It's like
that
in a
is.
football game when they've got the noise meter on the Jumbotron.
Uh-huh.
Just kept dialing it up.
I always question
That's
when
always
those are
bullshit.
legit.
It's
I think it's
always
total
bullshit.
bullshit.
Oh yeah. And then we get the wrap up on the episode. Everybody's high fiving and this is great. And and then there's this awkward chapel Spock thing, and she hurt his feelings. And then you zip to the quarters, Pike's quarters, and he is preparing dinner again for himself and Captain B. She's been out of shape that he lied to her about, about not wanting to go to that Crevo planet or whatever, as if she's never heard of somebody sparing somebody's feelings. And Pike tries to is like, yeah, I mean, and then he's finally like, you know what? Actually, yeah, that place sounded horrifying.
Pike's like, damn it, woman, I got 6 more years before I go in the boo box. I am not spending a week in Atlantic City.
So they have to go, and so they're gonna plan a vacation, but later because she's got to go off on this priority 1
No,
mission.
they're not, because she's like, oh, hey, they called me for a super secret mission. I'm like, she's fucked. Next time he sees her, a Gorn's gonna be busting out between them titties.
You're gonna be skeeting acid all over.
I could be wrong. That was just the ominous.
It was it seemed like a very innocuous comment that is definitely going to have dividends later.
So, and then in the wrap up, all the Federation ships have returned to normal, and presumably all of the Klingon ones as well. Spock comes back from some blood wine diplomacy and is a little shaky. It's mildly amusing. Pike enters. He says, "You know what? We probably ought to share that information with, other people since, things almost got really bad. And Uhura turns to start getting people on the horn and is humming the song, and everybody's looking at her like she's murdering a cat. And she's like, "Sorry,
That's my
earworm."
mistress, Helena. Take a hike.
So that was Subspace Rhapsody. I'm gonna let you guys do your tear it apart thing before I talk about what I want to say.
I really liked that the emotional core of this episode is following 3 relationships that we know are destined to all be happy endings.
Oh,
You
well,
think they
like I
can have
said,
a triple wedding for Lon and Kirk and Pike and Bay and Spock and Chapel?
they might as well. They'll have a triple divorce later. You know, like I said, Star Trek, Strange New Worlds. You got your 2 hijinks episodes in.
I know, right?
This one was ballsy. Um, like I'm not gonna say that it wasn't fun, but it was awful presumptuous of you to think that that you were at a point when you could do this.
You get 10
And
episodes.
yeah, and 30% of them, a Hall of Fame average, are hijinks.
Here's the
Um,
thing, though. I was actually kind of excited for it. My biggest issue was not the musical. Like, I can accept the premise, like, okay, we're doing a musical episode. I just didn't think it was that good. Like, I didn't think the songs were that good.
I didn't
I didn't. I
I didn't
I,
love this
I wanted it
episode.
to be more over the top.
Yeah, I didn't love this episode. I mean the
Like, usually when I
if
watch
you
a
want to do
musical,
something like this, like Elysian Kingdom, I thought was just a damn near masterpiece, right?
it was delightful.
This one, not so much, right? And I mean, I'll give it to them. A lot of the cast did really well with, their probably at least somewhat doctored up voices, but I still think they did, a good job with it, right? They had fun with it, which is fine, right? But yeah, I mean, you just burned 10% of you burn 10% of your season on this. And I mean, I guess you could argue that it got resolution in the Lon Kirk sub arc in the Spock. Well, basically, like I said, in all the relational sub arcs, we got some sort of resolution in them, right? Even though they were negative, at least you got some kind of resolution in them. And then they did pepper in the thing, like we said about the priority one, mission or whatever. That like, yeah, so we're still kind of trying to feed into it, but it just I felt the episode was like 55 minutes. It was long.
It felt
So
long.
so not it felt like it drug out forever. Um and
I feel like
like I
I
said,
was prepared to enjoy it. Like, I wanted to enjoy it, and I just the songs, I was like, "Okay, this is a very lackluster song." Usually when I watch a musical, like, there's at least a couple of them that get stuck in your head, like, and I finished it, I'm like, I barely remember any of the songs. Like, I remember the Klingon pop because it was funny, and I remembered a little bit of the finale, and then I remembered Spock's,
X and Y song,
yeah.
because it was creative.
I saw for the Y, and now I'm the X,
Yeah,
and, I thought that was funny, but,
I thought that was a good play on words, but yeah,
like,
I'm like you,
anytime
like
Una was singing or La'an
like the La'an
or
solo.
Uhura's solo.
The La'an solo was terrible. I felt
Mhm.
like
And
that's
it
when she was
wouldn't
imagining being pregnant
fucking
and all that
stop.
stuff. Yeah,
It kept going, and then they're opening Christmas presents, and then, like,
yeah, that was so weird.
going to their kid's graduation, and
Yeah, it was. I just, I would have been more okay. And then like the ballroom dancing with Una and Kirk,
mhm.
with Lon like peeping around the corner. I don't know. It just wasn't. like, I would have been more okay if the songs were like Situation Report, or it was kinda like it was a normal Star Trek episode, and then there were songs overlaid around, like, the critical moments, right? But
Or or if they'd have just gone completely gone for it, and it been flamboyant and over the top 100% of the time, because it
mhm,
made it feel really out of place when they did get more theatrical, I thought.
yeah, like the gravity stuff and the ballroom dancing and
Mhm.
yeah, I didn't like it. I thought, I mean, and I'm not saying I didn't like it because the talent wasn't there. I think some of these people, did really well, in their moments, but it it fell a little flat with me, no pun intended. Um, I didn't love it.
I
I think it was a missed opportunity for them to have a good Penis Ultimate episode feeding into the season finale.
Yeah, I would have rather had this episode earlier in the season. I think that would have helped too, but I know they were kind of probably building towards it, I guess. I don't know. Also, like, for the most part, the characters still acted in character, but, like, I was a little bit surprised at how big of a bitch Chapel was. Like, she went from, like, really like, I'm connected to him, and I care about him and all that shit, and she's like, "I got it, I'm gone, fuck off, Spock," and, like, never a conversation about it or anything, and Spock
And
learns
basically been avoiding him that whole time too.
yeah, and Spock
Like
learns the
pretty
lesson that all
much be
men
yeah, pretty much because he tried to reach out one time when she was emotionally distraught,
mhm.
and it like totally just blew up in his face.
And Spock finally knows how to be a human male because he learned that you just take whatever you're feeling and bury it deep down and never bring it up again. Oh, because boys are not supposed to feel emotions.
Nope.
That's what I got from this episode. Anyway,
Well, Warden, we didn't
tell
tear
us
it
why
apart
we're
too
wrong.
badly.
So we're gonna just. I'm not gonna bury the lead. I love the shit out of this, and I'm not being facetious about it. Um, I thought it was, first of all, it was really. I was going into this with like, oh fuck, what are they doing? Because I knew they were doing a musical episode. I knew this was coming, and I'm like, guys, no. And the one of the baseline things that I like so much about this episode is they actually follow the rules and formula for musicals very closely in terms of, I mean, hell, the episode and some of the episode is actually built around them. In terms of the whole idea of the major emotional moments are sung, um, the 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 fact that it is kind of random, um, uh, they did a good job of doing that. They also hit like all of the major genres of subgenres of musical music. They've got the opening song is the "Hey guys, here's introducing the cast, and what the general premise of the show's about." They've got a little bit of Gilbert and Sullivan style action in there with Kirk and Una. They've got um big showstoppy ballad type songs. They've got broody upset songs. They've got the grand finale. So they hit a lot of the big hit and big notes that you hit. Excuse the pun. Um, in a musical. Um, the songs themselves are what you expect from a song in a musical, which is because I mean, if you look at most musicals, at least the good ones, not the episodes of TV shows that are trying to do a musical episode, but actual musicals, songs don't carry the plot very much because they can't.
Mhm.
And that's why the plot is kind of thin. Because most of it is musical, most of it is sung, and the plot has to be carried in these spoken moments, which are comparatively brief. So I thought they did a decent enough job of making sure that the spoken plot parts, the part that is advancing the plot, is in fact, like, okay, given the amount of time they had to develop it. The emotional undercurrents were all developed in song, and they did what I thought was a very wise thing, because they had all of these interpersonal threads building up through the season. Let's just get them all out of the way in one episode, basically, and
That's fair.
and do it in a way that's like, okay, well, ordinarily this would be 5 episodes of painful breakup. Let's just put them in a situation like a musical where you're gonna just lay it all on the line in song, because that is how those work, and have these people be uninhibited in a way that they would not normally be. Get stuff out in the open and get on with it. So I personally liked the songs. The opening song is cute. It's not anything I would actually listen to on a regular basis outside of like, which, okay, I will admit I've seen the episode twice and I've listened to the cast recording more times than I remember. In a week, less than a week. I've been enjoying it. So I've heard that the Una and Kirk's number, it's cute. It's very Gilbert and Sullivan. It's not great Gilbert and Sullivan, but it's fun. Also has kind of a Rogers and Hammerstein feel as well. It's very, yeah. Anyway, it's not my favorite. It's not bad. I thought Lon's number was fine. It's not great, but but she is obviously a good singer, which I did a little research. These people are legit able to sing like this. I don't know that there's that much doctoring on voices, if anything. Okura in particular is actually like a singer. So I thought she did well. It's got it had kind of a Frozen kind of let it go kind of feel almost, as far as just being that kind of heartfelt. Chapel's song is fun. And I have been humming it from time to time. I loved Spock's song. I thought that was great. Of course, he's got a fun voice anyway. So I liked listening to that. The grand finale was the grand finale. It was probably they probably could have, I don't know, within the restrictions of what they had, it was fun, and the Klingons were hilarious. So I mean, I thought the music was good. It might not have been, and I'm going to say that I can definitely see that this episode is either to your taste or it's not to your taste. And I'm not going to hold it against anybody if it's not to your taste. But at the same time, as far as I will go to bat for personally, I'm not going to fight anybody, but what they set out to do, I feel like they executed very well. They all are talented people. They were trying to get these particular plot threads wrapped up and more or less wrapped up and out of the way, get certain characters where they need to be for the future, interpersonally, and basically just get, I've gone in a circle here, but it did what they were trying to do, and to have get off a good musical episode. And I mean, is it world changing? No, but I have seen plenty of shows. Well, not plenty, but quite a few shows that have tried to do musical style episodes, and they are just awful. So the fact that they did something that, I'm still humming here and there and having an earworm for even a week later is I think impressive. The fact that they exceeded my expectations. Yeah, I mentioned in the write up the actual, but it wouldn't be the first time that Star Trek was a little bit don't pay attention, even in good Star Trek. So don't pay attention to the scientific facts, just go with it. So that's, I mean, if you didn't like it, you didn't like it. That's whatever. But I just feel like they did what they were meaning to do. And there was something else, some other point I was going to make, but I've run out of steam mentally at this point.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I think on behalf of both of us, we appreciate the succinct way you did it.
You
But
asshole.
I am an asshole.
God damn.
I'm about to get muted. Now, I made.
I'll say this. I am really glad Warden liked it. I
I
am
am too,
legitimately happy for my buddy.
and
And
I'm glad that
I
he
wanted
was
to
willing
like
to
it, and
stand
I
up to
didn't
it.
hate it. I wanted to like it more. I didn't hate it. You know, there were parts of it that were fun. You know,
I didn't hate it, but
Mhm.
like I can. I think back of like some of the other
Oh,
musical episodes I've seen in other
mhm.
shows, and maybe the problem was this one was executed too well from a musical standpoint, and so I just didn't like it. And maybe that was the problem. It felt too structured versus like the Scrubs. I know we've talked about the Scrubs musical episode. Like I can still kind of hum some of those songs, and the How I Met Your Mother one. When they did that one. But those were also sitcoms, right? They were never made to be taken that serious. So they did have the occasional heavy episode, but they were kind of made to be taken lightheartedly, and that's why I think an episode like Elysian Kingdom worked so much better than this. This for me was just too much of a stretch for me to be able to sit there and enjoy it. I didn't hate it, but again, if we're using the litmus test of would I watch it again, if I tuned in just when Spock started singing his X and Y song, I'd probably watch that song. I might watch the finale number again. Um, at any other point during the episode, if I turned it on, that was it. Probably not.
well, I will say this. This is the first one either season I couldn't do a rewatch on. Like I started it and I was like, I just don't have it in me. So I rewatched the status report. Isn't that the name of the first song?
Yeah.
That one and the finale. And that may have been it.
The other thing,
Those were the only the X and Y was clever wordplay, but I didn't even really love that song that much. I did appreciate that Chapel's song felt a little bit more like a number, but the rest of it is it's hard to like a musical when you didn't like the songs.
well, I mean, yeah, if you didn't like the songs, you didn't like the songs. The other thing that I'm trying to keep it from flying away from me, my memory being what it is. we'll get into this probably more next week when we wrap up seasons and stuff like that. But the thing that I like as a preview to that, and the thing that I'm probably going to be talking about some is I am really impressed with the fact that they have tried to do things this season of Strange New Worlds. They are doing things that Star Trek doesn't normally do, or they're doing those things and they're putting their own spin on it. But there have not been 2 episodes this season that have felt the same. There have not been 2 episodes this season where they are tonally like repeating themselves. They're repeating other episodes of Star Trek. They are maybe referring to other episodes. They're referring to other IP perhaps, but they are not repeating themselves. They are doing very different things. Each episode is its own different genre. And do they hit it out of the park every time? No, but I think it's really cool that they are actually trying to put in some variety instead of having a weekly Whisper Cry episode. So,
But was season 2 of Strange New Worlds the one where we got the desiccated toddler episode early on? Or was that season 1?
That was season 1, I think.
Was that season 1? I thought that was
Mhm.
season 2, but
I don't think so, but I could be wrong.
you know, I guess for me, you know, you got to have a payoff in a way that your audience, you know, feels satisfied, right? And when you've got episodes like Under the Cloak of War and the one where they went to the Forgetting Planet and all these things, it's just sometimes sometimes when you don't get what you're expecting, you can handle it. Like I keep coming back to Elysian Kingdom. I thought that was executed very well. I was not expecting an episode like that. Um, Freaky Friday, you know, I wasn't really expecting that, but thought it was executed pretty well. I was not expecting this, and I just didn't feel when the episode was over. I was more just kind of like, thank God.
Mhm.
Then that was fun. Yeah, I just didn't appreciate the payoff.
I wish I had not known it was going to be a musical because I feel like my expectations probably played a role in being let down. I guess technically always expectations play a role in being let down, but you know what I'm saying.
Well, I didn't know it was a musical, and I felt that way too.
And while I think Warden makes a solid point about they've got these 3 relationships up in the air, and this was a way to not drag it out for 4 episodes and just end it all in one fell swoop. I guess technically only 2 of them ended, but uh I don't know. If you're not going to end it in a
Could have done it without
satisfying way,
singing.
if you're not going to end it with in a satisfying way, then maybe you shouldn't have done it to begin with.
well, that's another argument to have. Yes. But I mean, going into it however many episodes ago, there was no way that Chapel and Spock was going to end well. It's certainly not going to end lovey-dovey happily ever after.
No, but
You get to
there
the
could have been.
original series and they're colleagues and they're only colleagues and he's throwing plomic soup at her. So, I mean,
And she's engaged to the guy that she goes on the
mhm.
internship with. But that doesn't mean that you can't end it in an interesting way. I mean, I was curious to see how they would end it, knowing where it ends up. And instead, they're just like, we'll just hand wavy, it's gone. And I think one of the reasons it bothered me is because for the first time, really this season, it felt like they were acting out of character.
In
And
a way they were. I mean, that was actually part of the episode.
I mean,
their internal.
Yes, yes and no. Yes, it was part of the episode that they were more open and raw, but like it didn't seem like her being more open with her emotions and more candid would have been that. Like, oh, it was just a fling and it's over. Peace out. But and maybe they'll have an actual conversation about it in the next episode. I don't know, but it felt a little too hand wavy, and like I said, for the first time this season, felt a little out of character, even taking into account the plot of the episode. But I didn't hate it. I wish we had gotten more numbers like the grand finale.
So I mean, basically, your thing is you wanted this to be more. You didn't want it to be. You didn't want them to necessarily do a good musical. You wanted them to do something over the top.
Yeah, I guess you can say that. Um,
I would have rather them just not done it at all.
I mean,
I guess there's
like,
two
look, I
ways you can
enjoyed it.
go, you know?
I wanted it to be a little bit more, feel a little bit more like a stage musical, maybe,
Like
where everything
like
is bigger and more. n- When I say, I mean the performances are bigger. You can't do understated on stage because all your actions and movements have to be big for people to see them, and your voice, everything has to be done where the person in the back row can still have a good show. And so I felt like in a lot of the times when they were singing, they were doing it in a very calm conversational tone, and I'm like, well, why are we even doing a musical?
yeah. Or like have it where, you know, Spock was sitting in the lab and he did it and he's the only one that it's affected. And for the rest of the episode, like Spock singing everything around a total normal episode or something like that, so that you can just so that it's like Joe Bob said, so it's over the top, just silly and enjoyable versus trying to get everybody their moment. Because there were certain songs that I just couldn't wait until they got over with.
Hmm.
And then there were others that I was like, hey, this is kind of a cool song. Which I guess that's a musical, that's a standard CD or LP album anyway, right? But again, I didn't love this episode, and
Maybe I wanted it to feel more like a Disney musical than a whatever this might be, like where not because they didn't sing everything; they just sang the emotional parts. But I felt like I don't know, a lot of the emotional parts fell flat for me personally. But you know, I think we about talked it to death. Unless you guys have any
No, that's
final
fair. I
statements
think
to
we've
put on
kind
it.
of.
Well, Star Trek: Strange New World Season 2, Episode 9, Subspace Rhapsody. Well, need I ask what your favorite was,
I mean,
Willie?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Was our Warden?
I like Subspace Rhapsody. Of these two, I would watch that one. I have watched that one more than once. So
Willie?
I would like to watch the last 1 minute of Picard for 53 straight times. But I guess if you're
uh,
gonna make me pick, I'm gonna go with Picard because this episode of Strange New World just really didn't land with me.
I didn't love either one
But
of these.
honestly, I've kind of felt like that the last 3 or 4 episodes of Strange New Worlds. It's kind of in a rut to me. So I
Uh,
hope they really deliver on 10.
I don't know. I love those old scientists.
Mhm.
Those
And that
Old
was just 2
Scientists was
episodes
good. I'm
ago.
thinking of, Under the Cloak of War. Um, they had another one recently too that I was like,
The Forget
I can't
Me,
remember.
Charades.
The Forgetting, I don't know, I'd have to look them up, but I felt like our mid-run, or honestly leading up to Those Old Scientists, was we had a few that were not great.
Yeah,
But
I
anyway,
can't remember what was right before those old scientists, but
was it the time travel one with Lon?
I thought that was earlier, but maybe it was. No, it was the one where they blew up the gas station.
Yes, yeah,
So the vines.
that's right. Because before I had a hunch.
This is a hard pick for me because I didn't love either one of them. Picard is just so stupid. I loved the Enterprise F coming out, and I liked them getting back together on the D. Tough call. There's like 12 minutes of each episode that I like, and 45 minutes that I don't like. Hmm. I'm gonna pick the TOS episode I watched. What are little girls made of? I want to see how
Excuse me.
Chapel's fellowship ends. So
All right then.
So you think next week's a Gorn week on Strange New Worlds? I didn't ask. I've kind of been assuming it is, but
Oh yeah, there's no way it's anything but.
I think so.
Yeah, I think they've been building up to it.
I hope the Gorn aren't allied with the Borg. That would really be a downer for me personally.
The Bjorn.
Oh, now instead of the babies bursting out of their chest, they just carry him in a nice little swaddled, whatever you
Oh
call that
man.
thing, a Bjorn. Anyway, well, looking forward to it. We'll be back in another week with more sheer fucking hubris. Warden, engage.
This is Biblio Warden, Joe Bob, and Mr. Willie signing off.